Okay, I want you to try a little visualization exercise with me. It's going to sound a bit strange, but just go with it.
All right, I'm in.
Close your eyes. I want you to picture two words. In the left side of your mind, picture dire wolf.
Okay. Canis dirus, the fearsome dog.
Exactly. The heavy hitter of the Pleistocene. This is a beast that hunted horses, bison, maybe even mammoths. I mean, we're talking about a creature with a bite that could snap a femur like a twig. A genuine apex predator.
Got it. Utterly terrifying.
Now, on the right side of your brain, picture poodle.
Right. Okay, so pom-poms, the continental clip,
Yeah.
maybe a little rhinestone collar, prancing.
Yes. Prancing around a show ring at Westminster. Now, take those two images, the absolute nightmare wolf and the fancy show dog, and just smash them together.
Good boy.
Because today, we aren't just telling some weird, funny story. We're diving deep into what happens when genetic ethics, international smuggling, and just pure rural Alabama absurdity collide.
We're talking about the Mineral Springs dire poodle conspiracy.
It sounds like a joke.
It really does. I honestly thought it was a spoof when I first saw the headline, but the source material we have, and we have a ton of it, police reports from Chilton County, Alabama, FBI raid documents, it all paints a picture that is, it's both hilarious and genuinely chilling.
We're looking at a raided facility on some dirt road, a rogue geneticist from Shanghai, and 23 hybrid animals that, by all laws of nature and common sense, just should not exist.
And the craziest part, the thing that blew this whole thing open wasn't like a CIA operation.
Bro,
It was 2 local vegetarians, a pair of bolt cutters, and a bag of organic dog treats.
you just can't write this stuff.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to unpack not just the what, which is a 217-pound poodle, but the how and the why. How does a scientist supposedly resurrect traits from 13,000 years ago? And why does anyone think the world needs a biological weapon that looks like a cloud?
It's a deep dive into the kind of Jurassic Park reality we're all sort of stumbling into.
So let's start with the discovery. Set the scene for us. Mineral Springs, Alabama. It's quiet, it's rural. How does a secret like this even get out?
Well, enter our unlikely protagonists,
Wow.
Crystal Morrison and Derek Chen. And just to be clear for everyone listening, that's no relation to the geneticist we're about to meet.
Okay, good to know.
Crystal and Derek are described in the local papers as Maplesville's only 2 vegetarians. They're also ethical cryptocurrency enthusiasts.
I feel like I already know these people. I can just picture them.
Oh, you can. And they're not exactly strangers to a bit of controversy. They're already local legends for a lawsuit they filed against the town over a massive catfish named Willie Nelson, supposedly contaminating the water supply.
Wait, Willie Nelson, the catfish?
Yes. Apparently it's a local cryptid, a legend, and they believe let's just say its biological output is ruining the water quality. So these are very active, very concerned people.
Okay, so they're proactive. But how do you go from suing over a mythical fish to raiding a genetic lab?
The good old-fashioned rural grapevine. Rumors started flying about a breeding facility out on County Road 51. People heard barking that just didn't sound right. Unmarked trucks at all hours. So Crystal and Derek assumed the most logical thing.
An illegal puppy mill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a sad reality, so it's a reasonable assumption. They decided they weren't going to wait around for the sheriff. They were going to stage a liberation.
Okay.
They packed bolt cutters for the fence, and this is the detail that just gets me. They brought a bag of organic, gluten-free dog treats.
To calm down the beagles and the golden retrievers they thought they were saving.
They genuinely thought they were rescuing scared family pets. So they cut the fence, sneak up to the main pens, and that's when reality hits them like a truck.
What did they actually find?
Not beagles. They found 23 animals the police report calls monstrous. These things weigh, on average, 217 pounds.
217 pounds. I'm sorry, that's not a dog. That's a linebacker. A small bear.
It's the size of a black bear, but with the rough silhouette of a poodle. So you have Crystal and Derek standing there, holding out a tiny organic biscuit, while 23 pairs of predatory eyes are just tracking their every move.
It's a miracle they weren't just eaten.
Oh, absolutely. The only reason this story isn't a tragedy is because Deputy Mike Bradley happened to be on patrol. He saw the cut fence, pulled over, and found them just as they were trying to figure out how to open the main pen.
So he arrested them.
Trespassing and attempted theft. But here's the crazy irony. If they had actually succeeded, If they'd opened that gate,
You'd have an ecological catastrophe on your hands.
precisely, you'd have just released 23 hyper-intelligent apex predators into the Alabama countryside. It would have been a massacre. Livestock, deer, who knows what else. They thought they were heroes, but they were seconds from unleashing a total nightmare.
And that arrest is what finally tipped off the FBI.
Yeah. Deputy Bradley, he's not a geneticist, but he knows a dog when he sees one.
Yeah.
And he knew these weren't dogs. He made the call. And that's what led to the full-scale raid and the arrest of the mastermind, Dr. Wei Chen.
Let's get into the animals themselves. Dire poodle sounds funny, but those specks, they're terrifying. What exactly are these things?
Well, the marketing material from the lab calls them Age Heritage Poodles. Dr. Wei Chen, who's a 47-year-old geneticist from Shanghai, claims he spliced DNA from Canis dirus, the actual dire wolf, into standard poodle stock.
But dire wolves went extinct, what, 13,000 years ago?
Correct. Vanished at the end of the Pleistocene. And this is where the science gets really, really tricky. Getting a viable genome from that long ago it's almost impossible. DNA degrades. It just breaks apart into these tiny, useless fragments.
So how do you build a dog out of genetic confetti?
You need a scaffold. Think of it like a jigsaw puzzle where you've lost half the pieces. You can't finish it unless you have the picture on the box to guess what goes where. In this case, the poodle genome is the picture on the box. He likely used that as the base and then used gene editing tools, maybe CRISPR, to slot in the wolf traits wherever he could find a match.
I have to ask, why a poodle? Of all dogs, why a poodle? If you want a scary wolf dog, wouldn't you use a Mastiff or a German Shepherd?
That's the part that is so brilliant and so completely insane. Poodles are gun dogs. They're retrievers. They are incredibly smart, maybe one of the smartest breeds there is. Highly trainable, great problem solvers.
What about the software of a poodle?
Running on the hardware of a dire wolf.
Exactly.
Plus the coat. If you're selling these to billionaires, the word hypoallergenic is a massive selling point.
So what's the result? A bone-crushing jaw and a curly coat.
Pretty much. The skeletal density of a dire wolf with the intelligence of a poodle. And the diet is just as extreme. The logs from the facility show they were each eating 8 to 10 pounds of raw meat every single day.
That's over 200 pounds of meat a day for the whole pack.
It's basically a whole cow every few days. And you can't just put them in a backyard. The facility had livestock-grade fencing for a reason. These things would tear through a chain-link fence like it was nothing.
Is there any chance this is all just a really elaborate fraud?
Yeah.
That is not actually dire wolf DNA?
Well, it's the million-dollar question, and it's what scientists at Auburn University are trying to figure out right now. It's very possible this is just a big scam.
Like a biological Theranos?
Exactly. You could have just used large timber wolves, maybe crossed them with mastiffs for size, and then just called it Ice Age DNA to jack up the price.
Because who's going to know the difference?
Right. If you're buying a black market super pet, you're probably not demanding a peer-reviewed genetic analysis. But whether it's real or not, the result is the same. You have incredibly dangerous, unstable animals that have no business existing.
Let's talk about the man himself, Dr. Wei Chen. What brings a guy like that from Shanghai to rural Alabama?
Profit, privacy, and a serious lack of oversight. The charges include international smuggling and genetic theft. He allegedly got the source DNA from a Canadian facility. Alabama has cheap land and, frankly, fewer nosy neighbors.
And who's buying a killer poodle?
The super rich. We're talking a price tag of $50,000 to $150,000 per puppy.
That's a luxury car.
It's a status symbol. He wasn't selling pets, he was selling exclusivity, a living fossil. When every billionaire has a yacht, owning a creature from the Ice Age is the ultimate flex.
But now that the operation's been busted, that financial burden just gets flipped, right?
It flips right onto the taxpayers. The FBI seized 23 of these animals. You can't just drop a 200-pound wolf hybrid at the local animal shelter. They need special handlers, reinforced cages, all that food.
So we're buying the steaks for them now.
We are. The current estimate to keep these 23 animals alive and secure is about $380,000 a year.
Wow. Nearly $500,000 a year to babysit Frankenstein's poodles.
And they're evidence in a federal case. They can't be put down, they can't be adopted out, they just sit there eating through the county budget.
Okay, I want to shift to the local reaction.
Yeah.
Because this high-tech sci-fi story just drops into this very rural community. How are people handling it?
It is exactly as chaotic as you would imagine. You've got Randy Pickett,
The conspiracy guy, the one who donated to the activists' legal fund.
The very same. He's been telling everyone for months that there was a Chinese spy lab in the woods.
I mean, he wasn't completely wrong.
And that's the problem. He feels totally vindicated. But he's not stopping at illegal dog breeding. He thinks the lab is connected to a local burial mound, something he calls the possum yoga energy portal.
The what? Possum yoga.
Don't even ask. And he connects it all back to that Willie Nelson catfish. In his mind, it's all one big conspiracy. He thinks the dire poodles are some kind of biological surveillance drones.
Of course he does. And what's the religious angle on this?
Well, you have Pastor Hutchins. He's taking a very hardline theological stance. He sees the hybrids as demonic. To him, a dog being 217 pounds isn't genetics, it's proof of supernatural evil. He's actually calling for an exorcism.
An exorcism of the building.
And the dogs. He wants to cast the demons out of the poodles. Meanwhile, you've got scientists from Auburn on the news trying to explain CRISPR, basically shouting that this is science, not sorcery.
It's like two different centuries colliding on a single county road.
Exactly. And in the middle of all that noise, you find the real danger. This is where it gets genuinely scary.
The unanswered questions.
The inventory.
Right. The FBI found 23 dogs, but how long was Dr. Chen operating?
That's the nightmare scenario. You don't build a lab this sophisticated for just one litter. The terrifying probability is that dozens of these animals were already sold and shipped out before the raid ever happened.
So where are they?
That is the question, isn't it? Private estates in the Hamptons, ranches out in Texas, penthouses in Dubai. And these are now legal assets. If you bought one, you're holding some serious contraband.
So if you see Dr. Chen on the news in handcuffs,
what do? Do you call the FBI and confess to multiple federal crimes? Or do you try to make the evidence disappear?
By releasing it.
And that's the scenario that keeps ecologists up at night. A panicked owner drives their Age Heritage Poodle out to a national park and just opens the door.
And this isn't just a stray dog getting loose.
No, this is introducing a new super predator. If you get a male and a female out there, or even just one pregnant female, you could establish a breeding population.
And with that, poodle intelligence.
They'd be nearly impossible to track and catch. They're smart, they're pack hunters, and they're big enough to take down deer, elk, cattle. They would outcompete native predators almost immediately. It could trigger a trophic cascade.
Unpack that term for us. A trophic cascade.
It's when adding or removing a top predator completely rewrites an ecosystem. If these dire poodles wipe out the deer, the vegetation changes. Then the animals that ate that vegetation change. It unravels the whole food web from the top down.
It's literally Jurassic Park in the American South.
And unlike a T-Rex, they look like big, fluffy dogs. Someone might see one in the woods and think, oh, a lost pet, and get way too close before they realize the danger.
That is a chilling thought.
Yeah.
So what's happening with Crystal and Derek, the accidental heroes of this story?
Well, they're in a lot of trouble. They're facing felony trespassing and attempted theft charges. And the theft charge is the big one. In Alabama, the severity is based on the dollar value of what you try to steal.
And these dogs were valued at up to $150,000 each.
Exactly. So they thought they were liberating maybe a few $1,000s worth of rescue dogs. Legally, they attempted to steal over $2 million in property. That's serious prison time. Their GoFundMe, last I checked, was at $43.
And the only donor was Randy Pickett.
Of course. It's a grim lesson, really. You can't just show up to a situation with good intentions and organic snacks.
So let's zoom out.
Yeah.
What does this wild story tell us about where genetic engineering is headed? This feels like a preview.
It's absolutely a preview. The technology is getting cheaper, faster, more accessible. You don't need a huge government lab anymore. You can do this in a warehouse or a garage.
The era of garage biotech.
Exactly. And the regulations are always years behind the science. The law says don't smuggle endangered species, but it doesn't really have a category for resurrecting an extinct species and splicing it with a poodle.
And as long as there's a market for the unique and the extreme,
there will be a Dr. Chen willing to supply it. The designer pet industry is moving past just cloning your dead cat. We're moving into creating mythical creatures.
What's the end of this story?
I don't think it has an end yet. The legal battle will be wild, but the real loose thread is the sold inventory. The ones that got away. Somewhere out there, there's probably a dire poodle sleeping on a very expensive rug. And, you know, biology has a way of not caring much about fences.
That's a comforting thought to end on. If you're out hiking and you see a poodle the size of a pony,
don't offer it a treat.